labeled alternative assets as almost any private security that is not easily traded. That's what I ended up coming with the best possible definition for it. Just because there are alternative investments that are publicly traded and they don't provide the same value that the private securities tend to do. Even real estate, a lot of people don't actually consider it as alternative. They just consider it as its own asset class, as just real estate. But for the most part, I tend to stick with a few of the bigger names. I am interested in art. I am interested in like collectibles and stuff like that, but I tend to stick with derivatives of commercial real estate. So we're talking about apartment buildings, mobile home parks, self-storages. Then, yeah, you get into the startup world, and then even like the ones you mentioned, litigation, finance, life insurance. I think they all have places in the portfolio. I think it's just important to realize what I ended up coming up with was if you have a pie and how many different slices you need on each side of the pie. Alternative investments can, if you have a pie for alternative investments, it can get cut up into so many different slices because there's just such variety out there. But as long as you follow the fundamental rules of investing, they apply the same way to alternative investments as they do to traditional stuff. So not putting all your eggs in one operator and doing due diligence and dollar cost averaging, all of that stuff applies to alternative investments. So it's hard to quantify, hey, there's 173 different alternative investments. I would just say, my book covers, I believe, 8 of the more common ones. And what you end up seeing in the book is how relatable they are. And if you learn about apartment building investing, it's a really easy transition to self-storages or mobile home parks. At least from the investor perspective, it's a little bit more complicated when you're an operator of those different asset classes. But from an investment perspective, once you learn the key terms, once you learn the key fundamental business plans that each operator follows, it's very transferable to a different alternative investment.